Yeah, buddy. We are back and we are in the building. I know our holiday release schedule has been a little sporadic, but we're here.
We're clear.
Hey, we need beer.
Oh my! All right, yeah, that'll work. I'll take it.
That works.
That's a win. All right, what's up, guys? How are you guys?
Sick.
Sick of what?
You?
Oh, yeah, that's accurate. Enrique?
I'm good. Overslept. Feeling the shame and the guilt.
You did the walk of shame for another reason.
Oh, dude, and that
Did you have your chonies in your hand?
I had dude,
But that was also for another reason. You had to take a shit.
If you guys would have hurried up through the gate, what you guys would have seen me is as I'm trying to open the gate, all of a sudden this stomach cramp. You know I think the term is bubbling, right? So I felt the bubbling and the crampiness, and then so I did that whole thing where I got on my tippy toes and I was like, no, please don't come out.
Full disclosure, Doyle and me got lost. But we followed the little rabbit pellets on the floor.
Oh,
and then we realized they were actually from you.
We also heard the noise.
Yeah, that's kind of like how we got here.
You were running up the stairs.
We're like,
I'm glad I was.
I also smelled like
smoke.
I also smelled like ganja downstairs. I'm like, oh wait, no, that's Enrique's fucking shit.
No, that's the leftover for. Well, let me not say anything just because. I mean, unfortunately, that's way too close to the truth. Not because of any teacher or us. Let me just say that, and that's it. Moving on.
Okay,
Changing subject on that one.
Someone was smoking the ganja on school property.
Again, I will not say anything at all.
Without any disclosure, I just want to say, I guess it's been happening since the dawns of time. Huh?
It has.
There's some bleachers around here that have been christened too, I bet.
Well, thank God we don't
curse that devil's lettuce.
No bleachers on this campus. This is not that kind of campus. But
someone's
still.
bringing in bleachers to christen them. I promise you.
So what's new with everyone?
Man, I'm exhausted.
Me too.
I'm glad we're doing this episode because I get to be a grumpy old man. Silence.
Sorry, I'm under the weather, so I'm not going to talk as much.
Ay.
What happened was on Sunday, I started getting COVID-like symptoms, and I tested 3-4 times. And
can we call this episode Angel's Influenza? Ass.
Yes, we can.
Angels into
And then what happened was my whole family got sick, and I was actually asleep for 2 days. Dude, I've never slept for 2 days.
You slept for 2 days?
2 days.
You sure that wasn't sleep apnea? Is that how that works?
No, sleep apnea is like the whole snoring, and you can't sleep and you choke, isn't it? Doctor.
Sleep apnea, huh?
Yeah.
I thought it was an application to sleep sitter.
No.
I got that sleep apnea.
No, it sounds like a topical cream you put on before you go to sleep. Like come and buy sleep apnea by L'Oreal.
By Menon.
No, it's one of those ads on fucking a podcast by the Paul brothers or something.
Oh yeah.
This episode is brought to you by. I'm just jealous that we don't have a sponsor. That's all it is.
So know that okay, so the Paul brothers have that one drink, right? I think I seen it at 7-Eleven, in boxes. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's moving, but is it? Because I just saw boxes of it at the 7-Eleven, and it looks nasty.
I'm gonna be honest. I just see douchebag written all over the bottle.
It is. It's a douchebag thing.
Well, they're douchebags,
but you know what? I'm a fan of Logan Paul as a wrestler.
Me too.
I can't help.
100%. He's very talented as a wrestler.
I can't say that I like the guy and his personality or his persona, but it works in wrestling. It's easy to hate him.
Yeah, this is true. I see that.
I do like his character so much.
I
think he's one of the greats. I wish he was not a part-timer, though.
Yeah,
I wish he was there a lot more.
You know what's crazy? I have an affinity for anyone who's ended up in wrestling. Mm-hmm. So, didn't like Bad Bunny. Now, I'm more of a fan because he actually showed up and... the thing is taking bumps.
Yeah.
It is no joke to take a bump. And, for that's the reason why people... like I don't get mad at Trump supporters anymore because Donald Trump took a stunner. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who refuse to get hit and touched when they had that era of celebrity guest host for Monday Night Raw. Nope. Trump took a stunner. It was a crappy looking stunner, but he got one. So Stone Cold for president.
Well, Stone Cold sold it. It wasn't Trump.
True. But, you know, if you think about it.
I don't want to.
Well, I was going to say, if you think about it, Stone Cold could bring world peace. He can go into the UN and raise some hell, drink some Steve Weisers, and stun every political person in the room. You know what I mean? That'd be great. Man, they should have done that. That would have been a skit. So, you mentioned the Paul brothers. So I think we should just get into it. That sounds
you
like...
said Bad Bunny too. So, which is
count?
funny because he was, well, no, he's not, but he was dating an influencer family, one of the major ones.
You know
the
what?
Kardashians.
What's crazy is there is another Bad Bunny that is an influencer who sucks. We're going to get into all these crappy guys.
Okay.
All these douchebags.
Take it away.
McDouchers.
Take it away.
Where should we start?
Squid Squad.
Have you guys heard...
No.
Of course not. No one heard. 'Cause no one's listening. There's a streamer, and she goes by the name of Pokimane.
I heard about her, but it's her, right?
Yeah, it's a her.
I thought it was something to do with Pokemon.
So did I for so long.
Yeah, I thought it was like, oh, it must be like a streamer that does like Pokemon video games or something, or trading cards or something. And I think nothing more of it.
You're not far off though. I mean, that's kind of where it all comes from.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So I mean, we should probably start with defining like what she is and like what is like. So I mean, Pokimane is part of a group of like the latest iteration of like your YouTube / Instagram
She was the biggest.
everything.
She was the biggest
Celebrities.
streamer on
Let me cut you guys off real quick and just put this out now. I know nothing about influencers.
Yeah.
I know nothing about that because, like I said, I'm of that generation where I'm not really into that. So you guys are going to teach me.
No, we're not.
Like in the last podcast, like, you know, whenever like and notice whenever like Angel does know about something, rather than take the role of the audience listening, Angel's like, oh, I know that, and starts talking over like the like either Doyle's or mine's
oh yeah,
like
I'm more important, but you guys teach me now.
I love it. No, that's cool. I'm happy to hear that, dude. I mean, influence. I mean, your kids can like educate you really well about it. I mean, because that's what it is. They're the new celebrity. I mean, really, that's the
This is going to be a pro Gen X episode. All of y'all. You know what? Actually, what is an influencer? Let's define that
Sure.
before we even get started.
So, yeah, I mean, an influencer is somebody who has like the power to, influence you. They're accessible. They're available. They put out They put out, yeah. No, actually, that's part of the controversy. Some of these guys and girls, no good. But they basically have a platform now where your kids and everybody can see them, and influencers are able to convince them of what a better life looks like through social media. It's very scary.
Is my local drug dealer 305 an influencer? He's available.
He was in the 80s and 90s. He was through hip hop.
He's on the union. You know what I'm saying?
I have no idea what's going on
with OPP.
I thought we were just saying words.
We do that sometimes.
Call back. Okay, so let's talk about Pokemon. Pokemon.
What's up, man?
Okay,
Pokemon.
Lead me down the rabbit hole that is Pokemon wannabe.
Pokemon was Twitch. Damn it. Okay.
Take two.
Twitch's biggest streamer.
Twitch's bitches.
And she blew up in the platform to the point where like she had millions of subscribers. She had all these like sponsors and deals with like Twitch, and like they promoted her. She was on the main page. And she's a douchebag. End of story. There it is.
So it's on Twitch. So for those like people who don't know Twitch, I mean it's the biggest platform for streaming. Streaming videos like video games like Fortnite and League of Legends, and so often just people get on there, and it's on a small level, it's just a way to like connect with people who want to not play but watch you play games. But on a bigger scale, someone like Pokimane is able to get like fans to send money to them.
Yeah, I could see.
Yeah.
Like the typical young girls, all of a sudden, all these nerds are like, I'm in love.
Yeah. So
she's nothing special. I mean,
well, I mean, she had her own like this thing called offline TV that she started, although she left it in May. I mean,
what is that?
Offline TV was a place for influencers to have outside of Twitch to like have like content, right? I mean, that's the word content, and it's anything that they put out, like pictures, videos, reviews, or just them sitting there with their boobs kind of sticking out, and it's all content. And offline TV was just another way of getting people to engage with them.
I found a purpose for my boobs.
Interesting.
We're gonna be on off TV. I'm gonna put these puppies out there.
Well, the big controversy around
gain 2 members. Go ahead.
You're lefty and you're ready?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. We're up. Viewership is up 100%. Well, the big controversy around this Pokimane was that she's very toxic, right? If you talk bad about her, she'd talk crap about you, and then she'd play the victim, and oh my God, you're harassing me, you're bullying me. How can Twitch like partner with people like you? Copyright strike, legal, crap, whatever. And she would totally play the politics. Like if you weren't talking to her, if you weren't kissing butt, then like you wouldn't get pushed on Twitch. And so like you're gonna hear a very commonality within these stories. Like there's a community of these influencers, and all these influencers, like I don't know, you guys, I'm so glad not to be on social media, to be honest with you.
They sound like Trump. They sound like Trump.
It's crazy. You'd be shocked. It sounds like a bunch of politicians, and that's the word douchebag is going to get used. Every time you hear the word douchebag, drink.
I ran out of drink.
Oh, well, I was talking to the Squid Squad at home. Not you.
Squid Squad.
If you drink all that you needed to, then this show would say.
So, as an influencer, their biggest, I think their biggest danger is how they can get you to, they can get your kids to want stuff that they don't need and pay a lot of money for it. So the issue with Pokimane recently, amongst others, because there was a lot, it was that she was selling these cookies, something like $28 a bag or something like that, and people were buying it. But it turns out that on one hand that what do you call that, like when products sell something with no label, and then you as a you can put your name. I think of like Trader Joe's and those places that they have like their own brand name candy.
Yeah.
Well, they have their own like brand name stuff, but it's branded by them, but it was made by some other.
Yeah.
I think it's called a white bag or something. I forget what it's called, but
That you mean white?
That is not racist. Take that back, little guy.
I just want to know what he means.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say that the thing is that she like then went on her platform and told like people like someone was saying, oh, it's $28 expensive, and she's like, what's her direct quote? She goes, it makes my brain kaboom when people are like, oh my God, $20 for cookies. It's 4 bags. It's $7 a bag. I know math. It's hard when you're an idiot, but like if you're a broke boy, just say so. Anyways, moving on. If you want to pay $8 for Twitter Blue or for some pixels, that's okay. That's fine. You spend your money how you want. I'll spend mine how I want, and everyone else will spend theirs how they want. That's the beauty of having money. So basically disparaging her audience for like not wanting to give her $28, for a bag, and calling them poor. So like her whole like
she's not
fan
wrong.
base.
I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, we are poor, but poor people support the rich. So when you become an insufferable douchebag and you say things like that, then the poor people stop supporting you.
Don't look at me like that.
What you mean?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
We're in that weird place where we're poor, but we're definitely not rich. that's a weird place to be in. It's like we've learned to navigate poverty pretty well.
It's called being a minority.
Yeah, I mean, I've had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches my whole life. It doesn't offend me. You know what I mean? Like,
sounds so good right now.
See, this man knows.
Or a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Never.
I hate you.
I know. I just started something here, but not to go off topic. So there was that controversy with Pokimane where her audience was like, "Yeah, screw you," and that's the whole "Bye, Felicia."
I gotta ask, why are they called influencers? Because they influence. That's is that what it is?
Yes.
Because they're like, they influence other people.
Okay, so the key here about all influencers, and this is critical for anyone who's trying to get into that influencer, YouTube, Twitch space, whatever. When you build an audience, the sponsor goes to you because they presume that you have some sort of influence over your audience, that there is a percentage of your audience you can influence to buy. That's where the term comes from. Okay. So if you had 1 million, subs and nobody would listen to you, then there's no reason for a sponsor to sponsor you. If they as a matter of fact, if a sponsor puts money into your broadcast and then they don't get anything in return, there's no new business, there's no influx or anything like that, then the sponsor will never sponsor you again. So even as an influencer, you have to produce value for the sponsor or else the sponsor goes away. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. Other people may, still use your platform to promote their products because their product may work better than somebody else's. Right. But that's the name of the game. And people don't understand that. They think it's about views. It's not about views. They think it's about subs. It's not about subs. It's about the movement of influence. So for example, if I'm a Pepsi influencer, right? Like all I do is review like Coca-Colas, and I'm saying, today in this video, I'm going to do nothing but all the Pepsis that have ever existed. I'm gonna do a taste test. Pepsi would sponsor that because they would.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, they would say, "Oh, this guy is probably gonna have a bunch of people watch who like Pepsi." And so if he's saying, "Oh, this is the best Pepsi to buy," then now all of a sudden, Cherry Pepsi's spike in numbers go up because of that one video. Right. So they would sponsor that video. Whereas a general, entertainment type, content maker will come out and just talk about all things, right? And then they could get to 1 million subs and then no one is being influenced to buy anime or movies or anything like that. And so at that point, it's really hard for a sponsor to be like, I'm going to sponsor you. But that's the name of the game.
So what's the difference between sponsorship for influencers and sponsorship for say this John Cena match is brought to you by Mitsubishi Colt?
Well, influencer, it's a generic term. I mean, any influencers have been around since any media has been around. Radio, TV, basically.
Athletes were influencers.
Right. The whole thing about an influencer is they have the ability to affect public opinion. They can use their influence to for commercial purposes. But the reason why it's taken flight with Instagram and YouTube is because there was really no term for it. People disparage, for example, when YouTube in 2006 started and around 2008 when you had the third wave of the YouTube generation, you basically had there's this really great video, what's his name, the guy who does it's game theory, have you ever heard of that guy? He came out in the in the Five Nights at Freddy movie as one of the waiters.
Yeah.
Okay, so
my son told me about it.
Yeah, so that guy actually used to work for YouTube. So he has this kind of these definitions of how YouTube went through these phases and how and what their outreach was. But somewhere around the third wave, it became more about the personalities, right? But they had no name for them. So oftentimes you had the numbers going up so high for these people who were putting out videos of their daily lives, who are talking, what we call let's plays, watching them play video games. and they were able to get anybody who was watching them to buy those video games or buy a certain drink just because they had it on camera. People were buying that drink or whatever. So there was they had no way of legitimizing this, right? So they can make more money out, so they can monetize it. So little by little, that term influencer became the catch-all for what they did, and so now it reaches Instagram, TikTok, any personality who is on one of these social media platforms that's telling you about their life or a product they like, either beauty or food or whatever, are influencers by the generic definition, and also by the societal one that's been given to them. It's a job. And because of that, now they have a lot of power. They have a lot of income. So if you're an influencer, you have the potential to make a lot of money.
The other thing is like you also have to be mindful of what kind of content they create. A person who sits in front of the camera and just gives their opinion is part of a commentary community. Someone like Ryan, who does Ryan's Toys, that kid.
Ryan's World shit?
Yeah, I hate that kid. I don't know why I hate that kid.
I hate the parents, not the kids.
He's rich. He's stinking rich. But that a kid like that who makes kid friendly content is considered more of a kid entertainer content creator, and these each one of these are in their own lane.
I disagree with that. I mean, you may think that they're not influencers, but I think you would find that in the halls of like these management companies, like he's going to be right in there because he's able to like convince parents to, especially right now during the holidays.
I'm not saying he's not an influencer. I'm saying each of these are different subcategories of being an influencer. I mean, you can there's different content.
Okay.
So each content has influencers, and there's a top influencer in each category.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, I misunderstood where you were going with that.
No worries.
Fucking bullshit!
I love that one. I need a racist. I mean, a Russian.
You need a racist?
I need a racist. I need a racist.
Well, I mean, that's why Angel's not saying nothing. Come on, Angel, say something.
I need a racist to hold me down. No, we need a Russian. We need a Russian on the show with a heavy accent.
Da svidania.
Close enough.
Da. Jopa.
It's crazy because we talk about Pokimane, and she's a streamer, a gaming streamer. Another gaming streamer, her name was Nadia. She's pretty well known. Not by me. I didn't know her for nothing. I don't know any of these people, by the way. This is how I knew that I was old, because all these people are considered celebrity in somewhat. Wow. Not for me. Not sorry. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Sorry. Not sorry. And so this.
Wow.
Okay. I'm not saying I've never watched like a gamer stream, but they're not celebrities. They're sitting around playing video games all day. I'm sorry. It's not okay. Look, it's a video. I get it, but that doesn't make you special. That doesn't make you Brad Pitt.
No. In our generation, and Enrique can back this up, we would go to your friend's house and watch them play a game, and you'd have a great time.
Yeah.
But it's because I think it was the interaction and the camaraderie between the two people playing there. And dude, you passed that. I know this guy. I was there for the whole experience. Mm-hmm. So I see the basis where nowadays the whole antisocial social clubs that everyone are in, where they don't want to go out and make new friends, so they'll just sit there and have their imaginary friends and be like, oh, I am part of the little crew. I'm in their world watching the thing. I don't get it. I don't think it's the same. It's not the same. For me, it's not the same. But I can see where the new generations are like, yeah, this is fun because I'm watching them play and I'm seeing them advance. I could see it. I just don't buy it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Your turn.
Okay, so I was going to say, we talked about this many times, but the term that'll come up a lot in these discussions is the parasocial. It's a psychological definition of like a one-sided relationship, right? And oftentimes it was like it was had between yourself and like a movie star. Like you on a joking level, people say, well, who's that safety you have? Like if you ran into like Angelina Jolie, yeah, there you go. But in reality now, these influencers or social media, they rely heavily on that parasocial relationship with their audience, right? The audience feels this very connected kind of thing with them that when they watch them play video games, they feel like they're hanging out with a friend. Mind you, you're one in like 600,000 million or whatever, however the numbers are for these different viewers, because some of them can get really high up there. Your relationship with them is non-existent, at least from their perspective, but from yours, they're everything, right? Your whole schedule revolves around watching them play. It's the reason why a lot of these, particularly the Twitch streamers, have to be on a lot. Like if anything, they're like doing something like 6 to 7 hour streams throughout the day. Because if they don't, they fall out of relevancy really quickly. But yeah, their whole thing is that they rely on you to care about what they're putting out there, watching them play games, talk about the crap they talk about, and giving them money for it. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. It's like money. You're giving them money, and then they're hawking something, a lifestyle or a video game or a drink. And so, which one were you talking about, though, Anna? Because I don't think I'm familiar with her. Nadia. Like, what was her deal?
Her deal is that she got caught cheating. So she was a Call of Duty streamer, and I think her last name is like Amy, or like almost anime, right? But young girl got to be huge in the Call of Duty scene. And she was like a competitive streamer, but then people were sus of her skill. She would just all of a sudden like pull off these incredible feats, and she was just really good at the game. And of course, there's the misogynists out there who are like, girls can't be good at games. But then like they were on to something, and so they were kind of like analyzing her screen, and then they started to notice that she would see people through the walls. Like her auto aim would start aiming at people through the walls. And so there's a wall hack in Call of Duty that you could use, and then she would aim faster. There's a scene where like I guess like two guys would jump out, and if you're shooting at someone, you gotta aim at each person. Well, it jumped from the first person and it just like auto jumped to the second person. So she was using an aimbot. And so a wall hack and an aimbot in Call of Duty is definitely a way to like get easy wins. And it turns out that a lot of these streams, a lot of these guys use glitches and cheats to
look better.
Yeah, of course. And the truth is,
but it's only because she's feminine. She's a female. Then let's point her out. But the other guys are like, fuck her.
No, I mean, there's been a lot of people who've been, busted. But she got busted when she was trying to actually play competitive. She went to like one of those online tournaments, and she was trying to download like Fortnite like during the online tournament, and they were like girl, what are you doing? And it's because all of her hacks were in the game. On that. And so they caught her. The refs were standing right there and took control of her computer and then disqualified her, and so she lost. But
did she ever admit it?
No, she never. She indirectly like just talked around the subject, and then she stopped streaming. Shortly after that, after like everything went viral, she started like taking it easy and backing off of Call of Duty streams. She's like, I don't like Warzone anymore. I'm just over it. And then her content became more like about her life, and then she'd be on stream, and then she'd like expose herself accidentally, quote unquote. And that it just became where her content became her in like little dresses and little outfits and things like that. And then eventually she starts in OnlyFans, and you know how it goes.
Oh, speaking of OnlyFans and influencers,
you finally starting one?
Yes, finally. It's been around for like a year, no one noticed. But my wife told me this hilarious story. I'm gonna butcher names because again, I don't know any of these fucking influencers, but I do know the Paul brothers. And I guess at one point they had Jake Paul had a girlfriend that Logan Paul cheated or something, or like there was and it was all fake supposedly. Like, I mean, she did have a relationship with both brothers, but it was like consensual kind of thing, right? Anyway, that girl,
that's gross.
Yeah. That girl broke up with both of them, trying to do she's an influencer in her own thing or whatever, and she started an OnlyFans, right?
Of course.
And on the OnlyFans, before she started the OnlyFans, she was like, I will never, if I do show nudity, it'll be tasteful nudity. Like I won't never go full the whole thing. I will never show like my butthole or anything like that. You know, like nothing like very extreme,
We
right?
call it chocolate starfish here to keep it classy,
Okay, asterisk. So
Gaping holes,
winking eye,
black holes in space.
brown-eyed girl. So she said she was gonna keep it classy, right? And she was like,
week.
and then she's like, okay, so I
give her
she
a week.
released. Hold on, it gets better. So she started getting a lot of subscriptions, and she started releasing videos. One of them would be like, I take anal for the first time. So she was, everyone was like, oh my god! So they downloaded it, right? And then she got a lot of money off of that. And then another one like, I take two at the same time. What the fuck?
Disgusting.
So all just hardcore, right? Until it started coming out, like little by little, there was a guy like, oh, this sucks. I downloaded that video and she was just talking about her day and she never showed anything or never got nude. And then another guy's like, hey, me too. Hey, me too. She never went nude. She would just
then good for
clickbait
her.
them
Yeah.
into fucking, and no one said anything because they were all embarrassed. I'm like, yeah, good for her. Fuck yeah. Like,
Yeah.
That's
dude,
bad.
that's what you guys get. you
Well,
fucking
actually,
idiots. It's called Pornhub. It's free.
there are these things. Okay, so there's some commonalities in a lot of these stories and a lot of these influencers. And one of the things that you're gonna find is that like when a young attractive girl finds a lot of guys who kind of simp a lot, they take advantage.
For those who don't know what simp is, please.
For those who don't know what simp is, it's basically a guy who fiends over a girl and will give her anything, even though she hasn't earned anything. And
I was gonna make a joke about George, but never mind.
it basically
Jerry,
relationships are a two-way street. And so if you're not getting any sort of positive reinforcement in your relationship, then you might be a simp. And girls can be simps too, so don't think that it's just a guy thing. But primarily it's guys, right? There's simps.
And simp is short for simpleton?
Basically.
God, these slang
Actually,
these.
simps come from pimps back in the day. Pimps in like the 90s were calling the Johns simps. Go get that simp over there, because that guy was, he was simple. He was an easy way to make a buck. And so the girls would use that terminology, and so that's where it comes from. But
I did not know that.
now it has evolved because of hip-hop music, etc., and it is now kind of like pop culture, like normalized, right? And so these young attractive girls who get these platforms, they start to exploit these guys who find them attractive. Now the sad thing is that these are like usually young teenage boys, but like these guys have no social skills, they have no leadership, they have no accountability, they have no game. In a sense, they have no, cojones to get up and go and talk to a girl, because usually when the guys finally get over that and like and that's the thing about this social media generation. Like young kids are not getting the practice that it takes in order to get out there and be social with women and to learn how to be good. If you weren't good looking, you had to have one heck of a personality back in the day. And so you learned how to talk to women. But now, because of everything being online, you're interacting with everything online, and you can be justified because all you have to do is shut off the interaction.
You just gave away all my teenage years right there.
You know what? Okay, I'm glad you said, because I was about to throw you under the bus. Okay, I wasn't near the mic when Doyle was giving his definition of simp. So let me first start off by going back to the word simp. Okay, simp.
Yeah.
Basically, a simp has been around since the dawn of time, right? And everything is amplified to the nth degree on social media. That's the thing. Like, we always come back to social media because what it's done is it's taken all of the small, what we used to call like quirks of society, and we've amplified them on a larger scale, like writ large. Because, okay, so let's go back to the high school. Has there always been that girl that had like a small group of guys around them?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, those guys are simps, right? And we've all, at some level...
It depends.
Okay, so let's define simp again. A simp is a guy who has a one-sided relationship with a female, in this case, for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to go into like gender, whatever. I'm just going to say very simply, it typically it's a guy. Rarely is it girls, but girls have it too. I mean, BTS. I mean, come on, like look at all the women who are simping for the BTS guys, right?
Those are guys.
Kind of, sort of. That's
Not in my world.
I haven't looked under the hood, so you're welcome to go on that journey, my friend.
Me and Tyler Durden don't approve.
But basically, it's those people who have a very one-sided relationship, who will like champion these people for the sake of like their approval, right? Or like a kernel of it in some way. And so like, dude, simping has been around. So in high school, you saw it, and now in social media, you see it. And so Doyle, you were talking about how like, boys haven't learned how to interact with females in a proper way. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, okay, I mean that's a problem of the ages, but again, social media has amplified it to the 10th degree. It's made it a huge problem.
Precisely, but the difference between them and us is the fact that they are now sending their money to these women.
That's the danger.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They like how we used to get money, and like men buying women gifts to earn preferable treatment and favor is, like you said, that's been around since the beginning of time. But in return, there used to be friendship. But like you said, parasocial relationships, there is no friendship. I've never even met you, and I'm going to send you $1,000. There is a story about this guy who was married, who sent, I can't remember the influencer, but sent one of the influencers $1,000 of his own money.
That's nothing.
But here's what's crazy. He was married, and he sent this girl $1,000 instead of like taking his wife on a vacation or taking care of his kids or something like that. And he ended up losing his house because he was sending like his rent money to this girl.
Can I one up you though?
Yeah, of course.
There was one guy who became a subscriber to some girl. I don't know. Again, don't know my influencers, but she was some girl with pink hair, and gave her 15 grand, just like here for the chance to meet her. Gave her 15 grand, and he was all excited. He has a picture where he's doing the hover arm thing around her, and she's just standing like all awkward, like hi. And what she did with that money? She turned around. That's all he got, by the way. That's all she got. And he turned around and he took that. She took that money and went on vacation to like Barbados somewhere with her boyfriend.
Yeah,
and that's like, dude. And the guy's like, worth it.
Wow. Golly. Okay, that is a simp. A guy who buys a girl a cupcake at school because he likes her, that is not a simp. You are simping. So there's the early stages of it.
I disagree.
That's total. That's endearing because you're courting. That's different.
Yes.
The small, I think like a cupcake or something like that. Like if you guys are like starting to build a relationship.
Wait, let me finish.
Okay.
I was going to say, those are the early signs of simping. It starts there. That nerdy kid who's never talked to that cheerleader girl, but he's into her.
If they don't know each other, and he gives her like, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking
that's what I mean.
I think you meant
that's what I meant.
Two friends or something.
Oh, no. If there's friendship, then that's totally you just trying to, move up the ladder.
By the way, Enrique, I hate to interrupt, but thank you for the hand sanitizer drinks.
You're welcome. That's all I had. Oh, apologies, my king. I'm sorry that I did not have your proper libation there, bro.
These are adorable. These are cool. I've never seen these.
And so like there's
in my hand they look so large.
There's this
everything looks so small in your hands. What are you talking about there, bro?
Is that why you're happy to have small hands? Everything looks large.
What? Wait. What?
Vagina.
You buy the regular monsters because they look big. Hold on, I'm working with a monster.
So back to
it's a weird epidemic of like young attractive females using young teenage boys primarily, because that's who's on the internet for the most part, or some weird creepy middle-aged dude who just refuses to grow up.
That's the most part.
For the most part. And to be honest with you guys, I could just run down this list of all these influencers I have, because a lot of them are pedos. And it's not.
Yeah, I've heard
it's ridiculous how many of them are actually pedophiles.
My wife fills me in on some of the stories, and I'm like, damn, dude, it's a trip that they're all out there like.
It dawned on me a few years ago, like why I was like kind of happy to be the truth is the internet has always been like this, and we used to know this like growing up, and it used to be a thing where that's the reason why you stayed off the internet or you didn't believe everything you read on the internet, because this is what the internet is. And
it was called rotten.com.
Yeah,
and you'll love it.
Yeah, but at least you knew what it was. At least when you browsed the internet, you knew that there were certain areas of the internet that you go, I don't know, but I'm gonna click anyway. And then like it turned when social media became a thing, like everybody started like promoting it and pushing it, and all people's morbid videos and things like that started to permeate like YouTube and stuff like that. And it just there's some sick people out there, and they get audiences because people like watching like train wrecks. And there's this weird question where we have to ask ourselves, how much of a person's life where they're like really starting to like fall apart do we start to deem it as entertainment? Because there's something sick and morbid in that, and for us to be enjoying this person who's having a meltdown on like camera, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm talking to you, Britney Spears.
As weird as it is, okay, but I think with Britney it's a little different. First of all, they're broadcasting this girl all over the news. She's put herself out there to be photographed, to be chased down. She loved it when she was doing good, but as soon as she started doing bad, it was like, oh, get the cameras away from me. So I mean, that's one thing. But when you're a person who's on the internet and your everyday life, your income, your avenue of like money is based around you being and posting on the internet, and then your audience is watching you like meltdown daily. They're seeing you go through these struggles. They're seeing you go through these problems. And the more they watch you, the more they want you to melt down. Because that's the entertainment.
Now, okay, let's talk about the dark side of influencers. I sent you guys a link. This is one that I saw a while back. I don't know who Aiden Ross is, but he seems to be some kind of streamer. And his sister is an amateur porn star or something. I don't know what it is. But someone sent him a link. And he opened it live on air thinking, okay, what's this? He thought it was about the thing he was talking about. And it was a full-on pornographic, I don't know if it was a photo or a video of his sister. And you could see his soul leave his body live on air. It's the cruelest thing. And which brings me to the point that I know about the sub-level of dark influencers where they get paid money to go harass people out in public. There was that one guy who went to Japan, and he would harass people and say racist things against them, and would take advantage of the fact that the Japanese culture is very, very respectable, very quiet, humble. So he would go and pick fights with everyone on purpose. But then after a while, he outgrew his welcome. You can see the videos online. I don't know what the guy is, but he started harassing a lot of people. He got beat up a few times. He still kept streaming, and his followers were the ones who would like tip him money to, now go smack that guy. Now go tell this guy that he's drinking all this stuff. And he would go do it. And he thought it was the funniest thing. And when, excuse me. What ended up happening is he got arrested. He didn't get deported. He's arrested in Japan. And that's not so funny now, huh? And his friend who was his accomplice, he got deported. And still to this day, they're like, we did nothing wrong.
Yeah, the guy you're talking about is Johnny Somali.
Yeah,
that guy. He's kind of the worst extreme of influencers. I mean, I think what's in. There's no lack of scandal, be it sexual accusations. There was a guy who was I want to say, what was his name? He would do like a lot of beauty products. He's transgender.
Yeah. My wife was into him.
Something Star, Jeffree Star.
Yeah, that's guy. And
Star,
he was accused of. Yeah, he was accused of like grooming and grooming, young guys and stuff while being an influencer. And there's a lot of stories like that. I think one of the more interesting ones, before we go back to the Johnny Somali one, was that there was this TikToker. She's this girl, Ava Madgery. She was 13 years old at the time, and this wasn't like I guess technically he would be a pedo because he was 18 years old. He had asked her like, can you send me pictures, because she would post like TikToks and whatnot and Snapchats, I believe. And he asked her, can you send me selfies? And she asked her parents if it's okay, and so she did, because for money, I should say. So basically, parents were signing off on this.
Wow.
Now this guy then started asking for more and more, and so she said no. I mean, like, if you look at it from a small scale, there wasn't anything illegal at first, and the parents were signing off on it, which, by the way, that speaks to a whole other issue, right? That society is kind of accepting those type of interactions.
Yeah, the biggest issue.
And so what happens is so the guy escalates his behavior. He ends up, I guess he lived up in Maine, and she lived up down in Florida, and he ended up, she thought they were safe, right? But he ended up showing up at her house one night with a shotgun. And he shot at the dad, but the thing jammed. And now here's the thing, though. The dad is a retired cop. So he goes after the guy. The guy runs away. And so the dad stays up, gets his gun, and then the guy comes back later. And then he kills him. The dad kills the guy. So,
Good for the dad.
Yeah. But see, mind you, it already, like at 13, it already began. But then after that, another stalker came play. Now, this guy is a little bit older for sure. Same girl, yeah. Now she's,
what the fuck?
I want to say she's 15 now. 15 or 16. And so just recently she went to court. That's kind of why the story came back. Because she continued, by the way. She continued doing the TikToks and the stuff like nothing happened.
Learn no fucking lesson.
Again, because people have legitimized it. They turned it into a job, and so these things that happen, these, as we're calling them, dark things, are just, the cost of doing business. Right, they're just like bumps in the road for like their monetization, their content, or whatever.
The femme fatale is, it's a archetype, but it's there on social media. You can see there are plenty of women who just like making men like fiend over them and swoon over them. They really have no intention of giving these men anything, or they will give them just enough to keep them, on the cusp. And then like when these men go over the edge, that's where it becomes dangerous. It's very dangerous for women out there to begin with, but then once you start manipulating like emotionally unstable men, then like it can become really dangerous, because men are prone to violence. I need another smack for that one.
Yeah.
Violence. Violence.
So, the thing about Japan is like this idol. Okay, so they're called idols in Japan,
yeah.
And oftentimes people think that idols are like these large, but they're not. There's local idols. We're talking like young girls who do little performances like in small theaters, and the majority, if anything, the most of their audience is grown men, and it's not an isolated thing. This is throughout all of like the larger cities in Japan, and you have like hundreds of these girls. Now, again, I go back to my thesis, which is like social media takes all these smaller problems and writ large is makes them, escalates them, amplifies them, because essentially what we're seeing now with streamers is the same thing that you see with these idols in Japan, where their whole content is about monetizing their life, either the little slice of it, which is the video game streaming, or their vlogs or whatever. But at the end, the result is that one-sided relationship you have. But you rely on that because that's how you get your money. Sponsors are a big part of it, but also dude, these people are making like millions. It's not, we're not talking about small pocket change. Like,
getting donated to
somebody
ridiculous.
Like Pokimane or Sniper Wolf or these people who are streamers make like 16 million, and that's a year just in donations from their fans.
And there's these little communities that are starting to pop up where this is becoming normalized. You got weebs and otakus and things like that, where you got I coincided with the rise of anime because like you mentioned, there's all these men, and that's kind of the culture in Japan. And the thing about it is, I've always cringed watching anime because 9 times out of 10, the girl in anime who's overly sexualized is a 14 or 15-year-old. And it always made me cringe. Like, I never wanted to be that guy who drove by a high school and was like, dang, she's hot. Like, that freaks me out for some reason.
I feel weird because of the fact that I age out. Like, the older I get, the more I notice that, like, I don't find certain, ages attractive anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, the cutoff gets, like, more and more.
I think it was weird because it started early for me. When I was 21, I stopped being attracted to anyone who was less than 21, partially because they couldn't drink. Yeah. And I was just, like, mentally, like, I couldn't, I didn't want to date anyone younger than that.
I didn't want to date my wife when we first met because she's 8 years younger than me. I was like, are we gonna have anything in common? But I mean, it was different.
It was weird because when I got to, I think I was probably like 28, and I wouldn't date anyone younger than 25 because it was like there was just a mentality of like not enough life experience that I was just like, I don't want to have to hold someone's hand to like get them through the day. Like, oh, do I go to work today?
Yeah.
Yes, stupid.
My compass was always 4 years either way. 4 years down or 4 years up, and I'm good. That was me. Although when I was younger, when I was like 16 and stuff, I did go for the older woman.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That was different. But like once I became in my 30s, and so I started. I
absolutely. And it's just weird because, like I said, it's just there's this whole like world of. I feel like it's normalizing pedophiles as much as it is like anime and these different like cultural things. Like, that's all weird. It's just so weird, I refuse to watch any anime where the dude's 40 and he's dating a 15-year-old. I just won't. And he's like fiending over her. It's just super weird to me. And it, like, I think that's the rise in popularity because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these influencers are, either like over or like middle-aged men or they're young attractive women, right? And there's this one influencer who I really wanted to talk about because her name kind of symbolizes everything. And when you talk about like the dark side of being an influencer, this is a story for you guys. So her name was SS Sniper Wolf, which originally but it stood for sexy sniper wolf. So she like totally knew what she was doing when she named her channel.
Yet another LL Cool J type fucking name. Oh, what is it, dude? And then they're popular. You know how hard it was for us to come up with a name for this fucking podcast?
No.
So
not really, because
the Sniper Wolf name comes from the video game Metal Gear.
Yeah, I know, Metal Gear Sniper.
Yeah, and so the thing is just like her partner at the time, like he pretty much was the one running her site. He was doing it behind the scenes, like all her content.
He was her pimp.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now she's even like aside from probably the controversy that Doyle's going to talk about, the other controversy is that they're he's suing her because he wants to take back the website and all that stuff and she's saying, well, no, it's hers, but he's the one who started it. He was the one that was running it. So, but yeah,
Leah Shalesh.
Yeah. It what's crazy about it is that she's okay. I'm gonna say she's an attractive woman. I'm not attracted to her. I see the toxicity on her. Like, I don't know. She comes off very dumb to me.
No, you know what she looks like? She looks like a cross between Kat Von D and Mia Khalifa. Or is it Wiz Khalifa? I always get those two confused.
Wiz is a rapper.
Yeah.
So,
well, in this picture here, she looks like a cross between the two.
Okay, that's fair. She kind of reminds me of Tifa from Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I think she knows that she's kind of fits that and goes with that whole MO. It is her husband who created her content, who created her personality. There's another YouTuber by the name of Azzyland that she totally has ripped off, and like
Azzyland?
Azzyland. She was the originator of like a lot of things. Like she, Sniper Wolf stole her personality, her accent, her presentation, like everything. And the thing about
they're
being
fighting each other.
yeah, and the thing about the internet is that a lot of the stuff is the same on the internet, but you're
Yeah.
selling the personalities.
Let me interject. We know someone, an ex-friend of ours, who regurgitates other influencer stuff, trying to be an influencer,
yeah.
and that's all her and her husband do. They literally regurgitate everything. No news.
Are they successful?
No,
That's sad.
no.
How are you unsuccessful stealing successful people's
Because
stuff?
you have no talent.
Yeah. That's basically what it boils down to is your personality and
Yeah.
how you sell things.
That's how you present it, and to be honest, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's what's crazy is when you do certain things, there's a formula. There's a simple formula to being successful at all this stuff. That's why they can do influencer seminars. They have one in I think LA and one in Vegas every year where all like these top influencers will come and like do panels and tell people how to like make their thumbnails go viral, and this is where like people are starting to go viral because they start to understand how to manipulate people in the algorithm. It's pretty simple stuff, but it's kind of stupid. And so like if you're a person with integrity, what you want to do is you want to be a trendsetter. But for most of these people, they're just trend followers. And so for Sniper Wolf, she followed this to a T. She just basically reacts to TikToks. That's really her MO. She just sits and she reacts to TikToks. And there was this guy, his name was Jax Films, and he started to notice that she had this huge following, probably because she's a young, attractive female. And all these like young guys were like fiending over this girl, sending her money, doing all this stuff, but all she would do is react to TikToks. So they would send her TikToks all day, and she would just basically sit around and respond to TikToks. But like what Jack started to do was he started to observe that she's not giving content creators credit. So she's stealing their work. She would go on TikTok and take someone's video and then put it in her video, and her video will get 1,000 times more attention. So that creator's video is now not getting as much attention. And then she would make like the most debased comments on the video. So the guy would be like, the lady just asked me for $4.99. I'm gonna count it out all in pennies because I got time today. And then she'd be like, I got time today. That's all she would say, adding no value to the video itself. She would just repeat. There would be times where she would just watch videos and eat. Yeah, I said,
wow.
Yeah, like nothing special. She'd sit there with her mouth open, just watching the video. Like, no.
And I got a lot of views, of course.
Yeah.
And men are disgusting.
Exactly. That's exactly what it boiled down to. And so, once this guy started exposing her, he like broke it
I
down.
think it's once this guy started exposing himself, I'm like, whoa.
No, this Jax Films guy, he did a really good job of like mimicking her. He took her content and copied it like verbatim to the point where people were playing bingo watching her videos, like to see the same stuff that she would do. She would reuse videos to make her videos longer. She would reuse content. It wasn't new stuff. And so it became this thing where people were like, wow, like she's a terrible person. And they started to see it and they started to call her out for it on YouTube. So she found this Jax Films guy and she went to his house.
Oh, what?
Yeah, she went to his house. She exposed his address. She walked up to his front door. Yeah, she doxed him. And I just learned this from Enrique. Thank you, sir, because I did not know what doxing was. You want to tell the Squid Squad what doxing is?
Sure. Doxing is when you out somebody's personal life out on social media. It's also gone out into politics, where basically putting out personal information in the hopes of getting people to harass them. Yeah, it's an intimidation thing. It's pretty vile. And then the worst example of doxing leads to like swatting. I'm sure you guys know swatting, where people call in like a fake bomb scare or like some type of crime, and then like the hope is to get it on camera where that streamer, whoever, gets taken in by the police and beat down or whatever. It's pretty scary stuff.
Wow.
Dang, that is dark. I didn't know about swatting.
So
I thought doxing was a word format on Microsoft Word.
So back to the snipper girl.
Snipper wolf.
Snipper wolf. Yeah, yeah.
Stripper wolf.
And her freeboot. Okay, so the term that that people have like also coined is called freebooting. Freebooting is an old 16th century term where like pirates would go and and steal things from people, right? Booty. So essentially, you're freeloading and you're stealing. So you put the word together, portmanteau, and you have freebooting, and that's what people are using now for like content creators when they steal content from other people, or when you just take
it for the internet geeks to bring back like 16th century slang.
I love it, guys. I love it.
Winches.
No, seriously, hold on. You guys deserve this. Yeah.
It's all because they watch One Piece, right?
Yeah.
They're all like, well, let's get some get some pirate terms.
But they don't watch One Piece, the anime. They watch the Netflix one, and they're like, okay, we know everything about it.
Hey, that's a good show.
It was
man.
great. It was great.
Did you watch, by the way, Yu Yu Hakusho?
No, I haven't.
Good.
I have to watch you.
It's on my to-do list, but
It's good.
But we'll touch that one. We got we got to do live action animes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm so down.
But okay,
Death Note, I was better than people give it credit for. I'm saying that right now.
the Netflix one, no.
I'm sorry. I will defend that.
Have you seen the Japanese?
Hold on.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
I've seen all of them. But I'm not comparing one to the other. I'm just saying that the Death Note Netflix show was better than people said. That's all I'm saying. I think people hated it, and we can go into that when we do that episode. But it's
Is this going to be the new Flash?
It is absolutely. I will plant my flag on that on that hill, bro. We will fight to the death. I'm just saying.
You are a rude, terrible person.
Bring it. Death Note. Good show.
Death Note. Wait,
what you gonna do?
But going back to the conflict between Sniper Wolf and what was his name again?
Sniper, snipey.
See, the thing about Jack's films was what he was doing was legit. I think it was fine, and I hate the way YouTube handled it because ultimately, so after the doxing, she, because she basically shows up at his house like at what time? 12 o'clock, 3 a.m.
He was streaming live.
Yeah.
And his followers were like, she's at your house, bro. And he's like, shut up. And they're like, yeah, no, she's at your house. She's live streaming your front door. And he's like, what? And then his wife is like, I'm gonna go out there. And he's like, no, I gotta end the stream. Like if that was my wife, that girl would have got her whooped. Dude, I'm just saying, Christina is a thug.
I wouldn't have ended the stream. I would have continued. I would have gone out there like, what's going on, you guys? Oh my god!
But there's danger because you have kids and a wife.
Danger.
Sometimes as an influencer, you don't want your family out there at all because you know how trolls are.
Yeah. And it's not the first instance of something like that happening. And I mean, confrontations have happened a lot. There's been over the years. There's been like on air confrontations where somebody shows up at the person's house. It's happened, but what made this one significant was that she has such a large audience, and her reaction to Jack's films was disproportionate. I mean, the guy was making fun of her videos, but he was also giving honest feedback and critique. Yeah. Influencer bingo or content bingo, I forget what he called it, was a legitimate thing. Like what he did was he would ask people to like send them like, hey, what trope do you see from influencers? Like send it to me in a Google form, and then we'll watch the videos together, and then we'll bingo it, and then he gives constructive feedback on how to make it better. Right? That was his whole shtick. But the problem was that Sniper Wolf stuff was very pervasive. I mean, she was really like toxic and bad, and so her reaction to his reactions was to start insulting him, and then he doubled down, and it led into like October 14th when she shows up at his house.
That was this year.
That was this year.
Oh
yeah, that just recently happened.
Shit.
Now YouTube was quiet about it for about a week, right? But there was a ton of like outrage from like both sides, and then a lot of the bigger content creators. Like I remember Philip DeFranco. He's like you can call him like the elder statesman of YouTube because this guy's been around since 2006, and he has like a new show.
Old.
He is old, but he's he's one of the few YouTubers who've survived all the different epochs, if you will, of YouTube. And it's made a significant business out of what he does. Because he's touched all different levels of like the influencer content income, if you will. Well, anyway, so he had this whole expose about the thing, and then all his fans started like reaching out to YouTube, and so YouTube had to respond. Now, YouTube's response was terrible. What they did was they demonetized her, but they also I believe they also delisted some of the guy's stuff, Jack's film stuff. Like they're basically saying that what he was doing was on the same level of what she did, and it wasn't at all.
Like he's bullying her. That's their
yeah.
justification.
That's bullshit. YouTube is not one fair.
Oh,
it's
no,
not.
Absolutely not.
The monetization thing, the rights, it's just a really shitty service. Really
So-
bad, like Facebook or Instagram, where it's out in the open and they don't give a shit.
But part of
because
the-
you have no choice.
The part of the problem too was that Sniper Wolf is a big influencer for their brand. Like she was like a brand sponsor, ambassador of YouTube.
She's on the main trending page of every YouTube. Like,
No, right.
and she has
when
direct business connections with
Yeah,
YouTube.
when I first seen one of her videos, I kind of was like, that looks stupid, and I would like go on YouTube at work where I'm not logged in under my personal account, and it would be one of those blank accounts where nothing's there, but
Right.
her videos across the top of the trending line, and I'm like, oh, okay, that looks dumb. I'm not watching that, and then that was the first time I heard about her. And then shortly after that, like over time, is when all this controversy came out and all this stuff started happening. And that's the thing about all this. Like, it's a person who watches TikTok. Like, seriously? This person is worth this much attention and time. Turns out she's been convicted of armed robbery and stuff like that. Yeah, like twice.
Shut the front door.
She is not a great person. Like, she stole her entire persona from somebody else. She steals content from everybody else to make her content, and then she doesn't really do anything. So it's like,
And she's still popular?
that's my whole point. The only value that I could see that she's getting from anything in any way, shape, or form is that she's an overly sexualized, young, attractive female. And of course, the young weebs and incels and young guys are gonna flock to that. They're gonna see an attractive female who knows how to make clickbait, and knows how to like manipulate the audience. And because so many people are obsessed with TikTok, first of all, I don't even have a TikTok. I might be one of the rare few, but I don't have a TikTok. And so the stuff that like I'm noticing, like, people are TikTok addicted. They just sit there and scroll all day, and then they got to show you what they find funny. But we don't, like, I mean, growing up, we didn't do that. So it's weird to me still, and I refuse to get in the trend.
But
we do it a little bit.
We would have if it was around. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's true. Again,
we would have.
all the things that we did when we were young.
What
Are
was
people
available.
doing?
Yeah.
Well, people are doing it now, but writ large. Again, it goes back to I still say the biggest thesis of all this is that everything that we did when we were kids now is being amplified to a larger scale because of social media, and all of the dangers of that are amplified because of it. Like, I mean, going back to the simp thing, I mean, you guys were trying to say that, oh, you give a cupcake to a girl, you have a friendship. But, what was more, what I found more, especially like because I was part of a lot of different groups, either band or football, is you had that one girl who like 6 guys were all like trying to talk to, and I wouldn't call what they had was a friendship with them. What they had was a parasocial relationship in which
I was gonna say symbiosis. But
she well, yeah, there's symbiosis in the sense that she got validated while these guys believed that a small like crumb from her table, if you will, was a sign of her affection for them, which it wasn't. Now you amplify that on social media, and then all of the dark stuff starts happening. Someone like
and
Sniper
then you
Wolf
create Tila Tequila. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, Tila Tequila was like absolutely
She's
an
one of the
influencer before the social media, like MTV.
Technically, she was an influencer.
Yeah.
She was on MySpace.
MySpace
Yeah.
is what made her famous.
Well, okay, so remember when? Okay,
She
so
looks horrible, but now,
remember
by the
when Courtney?
she looked horrible back then. She looked like a gremlin.
Yeah.
Now
well,
she looks like a bloated gremlin.
But back then she was skinnier. There was
So you guys are fat shaming. Got it. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying that the standard
kidding. I'm
form of
fucking-
beauty, what people like, she looked the part is what it was. Anyways, Kim Kardashian, for the longest time, we had trouble like defining what she was famous for. So the term thrown around was she was famous for. Well, she was famous for being famous. That's what people used to say because they didn't know what to call it. But in reality, what Kim Kardashian was famous for was being an influencer. Yeah. Now they have a term for it, so you can sort of retroactively go back to her stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s, and say she was influencing. Same thing with Paris Hilton.
It's because they had
That's
to.
hot.
Because their claim to fame was a porn video, so they didn't like the term porn star.
Yeah.
And now, oh wait, we're influencing all these young girls to buy makeup. But you did a movie with Ray J, you cochina.
Right, but you know what, dude? Many people do porn and they don't become as big as her. So we have to first, like, we have to look at that from we have to look at it from a different perspective, right? In the same way, like earlier you said, it is very simple. There's a formula, and while there may be a formula, just because you follow it doesn't mean you're going to hit. There is this ineffable kind of factor in all of this, and what makes somebody really become viral, truly viral, and maintain it. And it's not just a formula, because anybody can follow a formula. Like, for example, like the thumbnails of people reacting, like, oh, you know, have that stupid look on their face, and then people click on it because I want to see why they reacted that way. Okay, that's fine.
I never do they show that face, by the way.
It's so stupid. I hate it. There was this one videos I used to watch of these guys. They had a video game store up in Washington, and I loved watching them because I like watching them, like, you know, show off the video games that they had trade-ins for. There was just something kind of satisfying about it. It's almost like an ASMR thing for me. We're listening to like nasty. The games and opening up. No, it's not. It wasn't. It's not. You guys are cochinos. But now their videos, like all their videos, have like these terrible thumbnails of the guys reacting, and it. I don't click on them anymore because of it.
But you know, like, that's part of the formula. That's what they teach at these influencer conferences, because those videos are clicked on 80% more than the other ones. It's just fact. It's, you know, when you look at statistics, when you look at how to go viral, there is more in building intrigue in a catchy title and having a face that is making an expression than there is in all this other stuff. And you can see. No. What's crazy is so now when I was doing research for this episode,
you did research for this
a little bit, because I didn't want to come in ignorant. I don't know none of these people, and I really don't care. I still don't care. It's just they're all horrible people. I didn't need to watch them to know that they were douchebags, to be honest with you guys. And this amplified things for me, and it actually did. I did learn some stuff. I won't say I didn't learn anything. There's a term I'm gonna get into right now that, like, I really found out, like, it just blew my mind, and I was like, this explains so much of why I have issues with people. But so, like, all of these trends and the way that you use things, there's metrics and numbers and whatever, right? And so you copy the metrics and the numbers of what's successful. And right. So if you know that this click nail designed this way with this kind of a title, using keywords in the description, and the keywords in the description are going to make you go viral, and you want to be an influencer, guess what you're going to do? But if you're a good influencer, you're going to go against all of that and come up with something so original, so unique, and so different that nobody is ever going to do it, and you're going to be a trend setter. That was the thing about being a celebrity back in the day. You had to have something special about you, and you had to be somewhat of a trendsetter in some capacity in order to be special or famous. Now you really don't. You just have to be a person who has somewhat high level of a charisma, and then you have to create some sort of, like you said, a paradox of people. Like there's a formula of success. There's this guy, only use blades, and he was a Call of Duty streamer, but all he did was run around and knife everybody. So nice. Like, yeah, he was actually pretty good at it, and he would win. And so he started building a following that way, but then he started to become toxic and drunk a lot. And then people saw him becoming abusive, and then he was abusing his family, and he would abuse other YouTubers, then he would abuse animals. But the audience just wanted to see him drunk. So the more he played, he would always have to be drunk. But it's clear that this guy has a problem, and his life is falling apart on camera. And this is where I posed that question earlier. Like, is it okay for us to be entertained by someone's life falling apart? We go, it's their life, they're the dumb one who's doing it, but we're watching it, and it just becomes like enabling a narcissist into like asking for more attention. Yeah, and instead of like these people getting help, we're watching them until they like fall apart. Yeah. And sometimes like we gotta start asking ourselves the question as a society, like, when is it okay to call mental health experts and say like, hey, this guy might need help? Yeah.
So the problem with that is that you're always going to have people who are entertained by other people's pain or challenges. I mean, come on, like America's Funniest Videos was all about that. And while we can say that it was all in good fun, and it's true, it was all in good fun, there was kind of like this like unsigned societal contract we had in which like the person posted it, so they're giving us permission to laugh at the things that happened to them. The problem though is that now, all that stuff was filtered through producers and what would be, appropriate for commercials, right? But now YouTube and Instagram and stuff has kind of removed the filter to some degree, to a large degree, I should say. But there's a filter still there, but it's very, very difficult. We want to watch people fall apart, and you're going to always get people in the content saying stupid things like, well, just lighten up. It's just, it's just jokes, right? I mean, you're always going to have okay, here's a good example. There's a guy named Nikado Avocado. I'm sure you've heard of him, right?
Yeah.
So
I heard about the penguin guy.
So this guy, Nikado Avocado, was a skinny YouTuber guy. He started making these mukbang videos. Are you guys familiar with the term mukbang?
Yes, I am. But
so for
still,
the audience, a mukbang video is something that started in Korea where people would eat large amounts of food, and the whole thing was just to watch them eat food. I mean, I never understood like the draw. I mean, I like watching people make food. I have like a lot of my content that I watch is either restaurants or people making food, and that's fun because there's something joyful about it.
I also do like seeing a table full of food and looking at the food. I don't enjoy watching them eat, but I do enjoy that part.
Part of the payoff when you watch somebody make like a good looking piece of meat or something is that bite they take from that initial thing. There's largely, I mean, I'm not gonna say you specifically, but largely.
Bear Grylls? Is that the guy's name?
The guy that does the wilderness one?
He has short, blonde, spiky hair.
No, Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
Okay.
Every time he bites into something.
Bear Grylls is the guy who goes into the forest and eats grubs and piss.
Yikes.
Oh, my bad.
Wrong person.
Completely different shit.
It is totally, completely different. So I'm okay being wrong here. But Guy Fieri, every time he bites into something, I don't know why, it always makes it sound and seem like it's delicious.
Well, because all of a sudden his cheeks are like...
because eating is a full body experience. It's a full sense experience, right? It's the touch, the smell, the taste, it's the sound, all of it, right? So when you watch somebody make food, you want to see them like take a bite out of it, but for some reason it's like almost like giving you permission to enjoy it with them. I mean, it's weird. I don't understand it, but that's just kind of how it works out for the most part. Now, mukbang videos like take that and they, I mean, for lack of a better term, they fetishize it, right? Where they turn it into, like a gross experience, but people like watching these. And so they migrated here to America and Europe and everywhere. People eat large amounts of food. And part of it is because of like, it's a Schadenfreude. You guys are familiar with that term? Mm-mm. Okay, so Schadenfreude is it's kind of a weird term in which you gaining the enjoyment of other people's pain. And so on some level, watching these people eat all of this food, they're not enjoying eating all of that food, right? They're eating, and so you're getting this kind of dark enjoyment from it. And that's the way I've kind of rationalized it. It's really gross. I'm not a fan of it. So this guy, Nikado Avocado, he was really skinny, right? And he has a personality, and people for the most part liked him. But he started making these mukbang videos in which he would eat
avocados.
Not just avocados. He eat everything. Dude.
Everything, man.
Everything. I mean, dude, let me just show you a quick picture of these guys. So basically,
stuff that he
has this huge noodles.
Show him like how he would look when he first started.
Yeah.
And then show him now.
And
like man versus food over here.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that the whole thing with this guy is essentially that he has gained like something like 130 pounds on air from eating this, and people have tried talking to him, like telling him, hey, this isn't healthy, but for the most part, this guy,
he's had a few health scares too.
Yeah, and
it would be interesting to watch him lose it all.
I would, but he's not.
I get it.
Also, it's easier to put it on than take it off. I'm just, talking about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Experience.
Just takes a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work.
So this is a before and after picture of the guy. So he was really skinny. Your average looking, American, right? Like.
Why do you have a picture of me right there?
I have a picture of you? Where? Oh, the fat guy. That's mean.
Oh. Well,
Love yourself.
By the way.
Love yourself.
Since my whole journey, 84 pounds down.
Good for you.
Nice.
Clearly, it's all from your
Proud of you,
personality.
sir. Wow.
That's why I'm so quiet.
I don't want to move on too quick. If there was more to this story,
Yeah, just to say, like,
there's-
he's a prime example of, like, you know, you were getting at earlier about the mental health. When is it okay to tell people, you know, hey, you're doing something that's going to hurt you? Well, the problem is that this is his identity now, right? This is who he is. He's a guy who eats all this food on camera, and I'd argue that he doesn't know who he is outside of it. And so the dark side of it is that he's going to continue to do this until he kills himself.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a sad thing. And people are going to encourage him. They're going to be there to watch it. They're going to eulogize the guy when he passes away from it. Oh, he was gone too soon. We should have done something. But, you know, people know. And that's part of the journey. People go on this journey with these people because they want to see them hurt themselves and fail. There is this dark aspect of groupthink, right? When you get a large amount of people, IQs drop. This is like science, right? People's IQs drop, and so does their morality. Right. It means the reason why, you know, people will gather around, you know, a stage and watch somebody get hanged. You know, for hundreds of years, that was kind of like the entertainment. People want to watch people suffer, and it fucking sucks because, excuse my language, I'm trying not to cuss, by the way, as much on air. I realize that I do that too much, and I'm trying to get better, so I'm going to do better. Anyways, it sucks that people want that. It's terrible. Anyways, that's it.
Sorry.
My stage is... I'm withdrawing my stage.
No, I agree with you. You know, and these are things that we have to analyze as society in order to get better. You know, there's going to be cultures that are going to push back against this, but this is that Western way of thinking where we start to analyze, like, where does this behavior come from? And then we try to go to what we call the uncivilized world, and we try to civilize it and just make them think outside the box. And there's certain virtues that come with thinking about this stuff, and there's certain virtues that don't. Which brings me to my terminology that I found out about this that actually, like, describes so much of my disdain for people. The terminology is virtue signaling. Are you guys familiar with virtue signaling? Okay.
No.
Pretend I'm not.
Okay, I'm going to explain it. So I had like I'm not a conservative. I'm not really a liberal. But for some reason, liberals would get under my skin, like certain liberals, not all liberals. And I started to, like, figure out why. And it was because, like, there's certain characteristics in, like, those extremist liberals that bother me. And virtue signaling is basically this. It's the public expression of opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character or social conscience or the moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue.
It's basically like those influencers that went down to the Black Lives Matter marches.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what it is. And that irritates the crap out of me.
Well, yeah, most of those are like that. It's like they don't. Why do you have to have a camera crew do something nice?
Yes, but here's what bothers me. So in many cases, I have tried to be a decent person, right? I'm a Christian, so I try to be a Christian, a good Christian. And I don't broadcast what I do. I don't try to elevate everything that I do to make myself to be this great human being, because I still know that, like, I'm a sinner. And my issue with virtue signaling is there are so many people who call for the downfall of religion and, oh, you're an idiot because you're a religious person and blah, 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 while they're virtue signaling how upstanding and moral they are, or how, like, there's all these hypocrites in religion, but then they do something hypocritical and no one calls them out for it. And I've always noticed that. And there's a trend.
Unless you're George, and then George is like, that's because you're not religious.
I mean, but I don't think that to be an upstanding person, you have to have faith. I think that faith is there for other reasons. I mean, you can have morals and not be a religious person. But the problem is like the justification about doing things. For example, if I am a person who says everyone should be tolerant of everyone else, and then you get offended that I take a position on a particular political issue, and now you're screaming F you, you black piece of, you just became intolerant. and so often and so many times that happens, and I see it, and it's from the people who are chastising me for believing in God, even though me believing in God has nothing to do with them living their life in any way, shape, or form. Maybe in somebody else's world it does, and so they just associate like all people who believe in God to be like these horrible, like evil people. But I think you have to judge people on an individual basis. You can't judge everyone based on a group. Maybe not the Nazis, but that goes to a different thing. But I've noticed that there's like trends.
Yeah, mein Führer.
There's some things that I've noticed. So like these self-righteous people who are online, what I noticed a lot is they're like, oh, Nazis are bad. You're a freaking Nazi. They'll always say like terminology like that, or they have this big issue with religion or of any kind, right? And they're saying, oh, we got to get rid of religion. Oh, racism. Don't be a freaking racist or whatever. And they're always quick to call people that in a negative way, like not in the joking way that we do on the show. Then they get upset when their specialized group is offended, like feminist or LGBTQ or whatever. And then it always turns into
cancel them. Burn the witch.
But here's what happens. Somebody will critique them, and it could be a fair critique. And then, oh, everyone's ganging up on me. Yeah. I'm the victim. Why did they do that to me? Oh, and then now my mental health is at risk because all these people are saying the truth to me. And that gets on my last nerve because that lack of accountability, it drives me nuts. And I did notice this, and I don't know if it's connected, but a lot of these people have multicolored hair. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know if that's connected. I'm not saying just because you have multicolored hair that you're one of them, but it's pretty likely that you might be one of them. So I'm just saying that this is something that I noticed as a trend, that it's been growing. And the people who fit that MO, who start using that terminology, are the main ones who play victim when they're being held accountable to the things that they do wrong. They never admit fault. So virtue signaling, for those of you out there who never heard that term before.
No, it's the first time I ever thought about that, but it brings me to the next point. Everything that you guys have told me about influencers, I don't see the no value to an influencer. Then is there any good out of it? Is there any positive to any of the influencers?
I'm sure there is. There's entertainment. There's they cure boredom sometimes.
Is that Mr. Beast guy an influencer?
Yeah. There you go. You know what? Influencers can do good. Mr. Beast went to Africa and put whales. He dug whales.
Sorry, I'm like, he went to Africa for whales, and
the look you gave me right now,
because I pictured like in the middle of the Sahara somewhere, like a big, like a blue whale died, and Mr. Beast's like, yes, good.
He would be Mr. Burns at that point.
Mr.
Burns. No, I mean, when influencers give away money to like poor people or people who are less fortunate, I'm all for that. I'm all for helping out the less fortunate. I'm all for going into communities that don't have and doing something nice. And he got backlash for that. That's what gets on my last nerve, because all these people are like, he's too rich, he has too money. He goes to Africa of all places.
He got backlash because he did that. What's the word? Something about virtual signaling. Virtual signaling.
I don't know if
that might be. It might be considered that.
But it's more. It's less of him saying I'm a good person, I would do this, and him just doing it and making a video of it. Hey, we're here in Africa. We're gonna put some whales in the ground. Watch the process, and then you have this video and these clips and stuff. Now, like. I'm not saying he's my favorite person, but I haven't found a reason to hate him. I mean, he's admitted fault.
I do.
Why?
He doesn't give me money.
Well, you don't appear on his videos.
Oh, right. Never mind.
We should have him on the show.
There goes that.
No, I just think that like in what he did, it wasn't so much him virtue signaling, even though he was making a video for content, but that's what he does. His whole life is basically filmed.
Yeah.
And so he basically filmed some philanthropy. He went over and he did a good thing, and people were like hating on him for it. And I don't know why that was such a bad thing. Like, especially,
I think it's not the fact that it's not what he did. It's just that he's so big now that even like I knew who Mr. Beast is, and I don't follow influencers.
Yeah.
I think it's just what it is when someone's on top. It's this human nature to try to like bring them down. So they just want to complain and criticize for over bullshit. I think that's what it is.
it makes sense, and I get that that's gonna exist and it's gonna be there, and
yeah,
to some degree, like, I mean, if you're willing to put yourself out there, then you're willing to be criticized, but the critiques need to be valid. And I think, why are you doing that? Africa doesn't need a white savior. Clearly they do, because the government's not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the government was doing something about it, then those wells would have been there. And to see those kids, because that's really what, like, I saw. I saw the reaction and the response of the children who got the whale. Well, I said whale.
Yeah, you said whale.
I was thinking Finding Dory. But to see the reaction of those kids, like, I know there's a lot of, like, whatever that goes into it, but that was a good deed. That was like one of the few good deeds that I could say, like, all right, thumbs up. I'm not going to give it a like. I'm not going to subscribe, but sure, I'll, hey, good job. And we need more of that, not less of that. I did get irritated. I did get irritated when I started seeing all these, like, influencers, like, hey, I'm going to give this homeless guy six pizzas and $100. And, like, there's been a few moments that highlight people's real struggle. Mm-hmm. Those I like.
Yeah.
But the ones where, like, people are like, oh, hey, here's $1,000, and they're just doing it, and you could tell, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was a video, I seen this guy, he gave this homeless dude like $2,000, right? Mm-hmm. But he sat down next to him. He said, hey, I just want you to have a good holiday. And he said, you probably don't get to eat very often, do you? And the homeless guy said, no, like, don't leave. Got up, took the money, and went and bought food, and came back and gave the man who gave him like $2,000 food. And he said, you want me to eat with you? And the homeless guy was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he sat and talked to him and cut the camera. Mm-hmm. I like that video because that video highlights the fact that this guy was so lonely. He just wanted to have a meal with somebody. Yeah. And that was cool. But, like,
I've seen another one where a guy actually, not so much money, but I think it was like $200 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the guy does kind of similar, like, what are you going to do with this? I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. And the guy gets up and he goes to a local fast food joint and he buys all $200 worth of food. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's gonna go bad, right? You think? No, the guy actually went through the whole community with all the homeless and started giving out to everyone food.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, oh shit, okay, then let's, like, he didn't end it, but he was like, wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Sometimes we need to see that.
There is another video though that got exposed that the guy was supposedly giving away a phone to a family, to a kid and a mom, like a single mom or something. He was only doing it on camera. He did not want to give the phone up. And I wish I knew more details or remember more details. But I remember, like, he got caught. Someone else was filming it. And he basically, like, after the video cut, he actually grabbed the phone and, like, put it in his pocket and walked away.
And see, that's the kind of stuff that, like, there's that negative of the influencers. But then there are those positives, like you said. And as a society, we need to learn how to separate the good from the bad, because it's just time, Or you could take them both, and there you have the facts of life. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to be able to label them, like, instead of thumbs up and thumbs down, like, good content versus
and then they took that away. YouTube took that away. You don't see the thumbs down and thumbs up anymore.
It's because it started to get weaponized when like Sniper Wolf and Jack's films. Mm-hmm. Sniper Wolf will go and dislike his videos. So her whole entire audience of sheep would go over and start disliking someone's video, and so it would start skewing things. Mm-hmm. And it's unfair. I mean, there's a whole history on social media of people manipulating and using the platform. Content bans and strikes, and I'm gonna get my lawyer involved, and now, like, there's a dispute over, like, imagine you go viral, you get 1 million views on a video or on an episode, right? And then someone hits you with a copyright strike. That's not fair. But because they've already made it in that space, they basically dragged the case out for like 1.5 years. that's going to kill your virility. And then when your virility is down, then you're not going to be making any money. You're not going to be building any content. And so by the time your video drops again a year later, its excitement might be dead because
you didn't catch the wave on
you didn't catch the wave, and so you've just missed out on building your audience, which is unfair. But that's what some of these bigger names in the space do. They manipulate the algorithms and the audience and the legal system in order to knock down the little guy.
Yeah, I remember that there was a musician, an amateur musician, that would upload his own music, and all of a sudden one day, YouTube gave him a copyright infringement and took down his video, and he was like, "What the fuck? That's mine." And they were like, "No." There was, I believe, in Brazil, another person who uploaded the video of his other guy's music, and didn't do nothing but just renamed it Remix. This is in the earlier days, by the way, and he copyrighted that remix, so he was able to take the original authors down and claim it as his own, and he never got that song back. It wasn't great, but it was like some weird techno thing that he did at home. But I remember that one really enraged me, and I had like bookmarked it for years and years and years. To like 5 years ago, I cleared it up because I was just like, "There's no point to this." But it's gotten worse. Speaking of that, though, my youngest, he watches these videos where it's like, or all my kids, but they watch these videos online. And I don't know if they're considered YouTube influencers or whatever, but they'll be like, "Today we're going to review the 10 banned items from Amazon," or something like that. Are those considered influencers?
Yeah.
Okay. So this guy's full of crap. These two guys, one of my kids, the youngest, watches because he's like, "Oh my God, these are banned items." He goes on, he's like, "Okay, the following item has been banned," and then he'll bring out like something that, of course, this is like targeted at young kids, right? So he'll bring out a Wii, and he'll be like, "Amazon will not carry these anymore because they banned them on Amazon because people were breaking their TVs." When in reality, that's not what really happened. Amazon doesn't carry them because Nintendo doesn't make them anymore because they went on to the Wii U and then the Switch. Like that's how it happened. Mm-hmm. He pointed out Tickle Miyomo. He pointed out Tamagotchis, Furbies. He pointed out all these things that's like, they're not banned. None of these things are banned. But then you have my stupid 4-year-old baby going on going, "Papa, why did they ban this? Is this banned? Is this banned?" I'm like, "No, it's not banned." Like, dude, what the hell?
And this is that whole fact checking community, like,
it's not there.
You can create a bunch of content and no one fact checks it, and so you can get away with a lot of nonsense. And so I don't know. I mean, there does need to be some regulation, but we also need to really redefine these things because the platforms themselves have way too much power. Yeah. They basically monopolize everything. Yeah. When it comes to making a living on YouTube owns all rights, authority, and power over their own platform. Yeah. And so they make all the rules. And so now if you think about how much power there is behind that, granted they're part of the Google bubble now, but like, geez, like they can completely kill somebody's livelihood. Yeah. And like Chappelle said, killing someone's livelihood is akin to killing them. Yeah. So it's just that's some dark stuff. You can send somebody off into a fit of death and rage and suicide because you take away their livelihood. Yeah,
100%.
So, Enrique.
Now I'm sad.
Well, I mean, it's one of the reasons why
it influenced me to be sad.
Yeah, it influenced me to be sad. I'm so sad.
That's so sad.
But that's a business in itself. You depress people and then sell better health. This episode has been brought to you by
Better Health.
No, it hasn't. But we would actually
you got mental issues, motherfucker.
I wouldn't mind doing a Better Health sponsorship because
fucking bullshit.
Not because of that. It's because I do think that some people need it. Some people really need it, especially these days.
Don't look at me.
I didn't. No, I'm just talking to you, not looking at you. I used to be anti-therapy, like psychology.
Oh, you were in Scientology. I did not know that.
And then I got smarter and wiser, and I said, look, there's different avenues of how you can, and some people, if they would have had, therapy, maybe they wouldn't have done the, we won't talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just this was a horrible episode to have to research. I'm gonna be honest, because these people suck.
Yeah, they do.
They're all douchebags.
And that is why I didn't do no research. I let you guys do all the dirty work.
You suck. Let me give you a list, a quick breakdown list.
Oh, Mr. Oh my God, here comes the list. Is going to give us a list? All right, go ahead.
Oh no, this is my list. This is very short.
He's got me there.
Okay. Demetrius Janinski. He was a Minecraft influencer. Pedo. EDB. Pedo. Miranda Sings. Pedo. Future Man. Pedo. Mad Thad. Pedo. Austin Jones. Pedo. Zazef. Pedo. Plasma Master Don.
Austin Jones. What?
Austin Jones. Look him up.
No,
Okay, yeah, you don't have to. Anyway, this is my list just in one day of these influencers that I researched that all turned out to be like predators.
No, when you say pedos, like they're actually confirmed, like arrested and prosecuted.
Yes, they were all
arrested,
caught.
But they were all arrested and prosecuted, and
yes,
not condemned. But
no,
you know what I mean?
Okay. So here's what happens: the internet detectives are very good at their job. And what happens in all these cases and all these stories, all these guys ended their careers because of this. They were found to be discussing or talking to someone who was way younger. Like, I'm not saying they're 18, they're talking to someone 16. I'm talking about they're in their late 20s, early 30s, middle age kind of thing. And they're talking to someone who's like 14. And they ask, or, hey, how old are you? Oh, you're 12. So they know that this person is 12 and they continue a sexual relationship or some sort of sexual dialogue with this person. And so this is actually what ended their influencing. This is what ended their career.
That's terrible.
Yeah, there's what people do is they're good. They screenshot like conversations, they screenshot like things, and then the FBI reports come out and there's evidence. There's plenty of evidence, not allegations.
Not all of them though. Like Miranda Sings, like she's blogging again. She's like, and she's refuted everything. So I would argue that not all of the people on your list have been proven to be that. And I'm not saying that they're not. And he's correct with saying that people post like videos and pictures and screenshots. But if we want to look at it from a legal standpoint, a lot of these people haven't seen their day in court, and they haven't been actually found to be guilty of it. And there's always two sides to a story. And again, not excusing it at all, just saying that we gotta be fair, just to put that out. Yeah, and so just to use Miranda Sings as an example, I mean she's accused of sending like pictures and videos and stuff to one of her employees who she had met through her. I guess she met him through the years because she's been doing stuff for a long time. And so he claims that he was underage at the time that they started talking. He's of age now, but she sent him videos or what have you, and then he accuses her of like grooming him, and so she's gone on to say that those are lies, and she was never really interviewed by the FBI for it, but she was canceled because the internet does that, but she capitalized on all of it by making a whole kind of journey story about it, and now she's vlogging again, and I'd argue that she's not worse for wear. I don't know about all the other people on Doyle's list, but I imagine that each one has different levels of guilt or accusations and stuff, and it'd be worthy of looking into them. Yeah, and
the egregiousness of their offense varies. For example, we were talking about Sniper Wolf earlier. She posed as a 15-year-old girl to another like 14-year-old girl, and she said, "Oh, I'll show you my boobs if you twerk for me." Like, there's levels of it. Like, obviously we know what that is. We know where that's going, and this is captured live, caught on video.
Terrible,
like,
yeah.
It's been rebroadcasted, so the world sees the feed. They see the stream from Omegle, and what most people would say, like, hey, that's some pedo behavior. You know, that's some
big time.
grooming.
Yeah.
And so she may not go to jail or see any jail time because of it, but we see some predatory behavior out of it. And that's kind of the same thing that with Miranda Sings. So like that's, you know, there's different levels of egregiousness, but there's hey, we got one label for you, pedo.
So Shane Dawson's a good example. I mean, if you want to go far back into like he started off on YouTube again. He's one of those people that started with Phil DeFranco back in 2006, and he had like he's gone through the different epochs of YouTube and what he did, reaction videos and video essays. But a lot of his behavior was really just like him being like really gross. Like, I mean, at one point he claims to have he claims that he had molested, like, I don't know if it was like his cousin or something. And then he turns on and says, "Oh no, I was just kidding," right? Stuff like that. But he would do these very like disgusting things on YouTube that at the time people were all for it. They were all watching it, you know? They didn't cancel him for it. I mean, I would argue that cancellation in the large scale is really like a fairly new phenomenon. I mean, even back like in 2008, 2009, there was like a whole string of videos, apology videos, right? I mean, it was a trope. Like, eventually, if you're a YouTuber, you're going to have to do the apology video, right? I mean, there was a whole format to it and everything. The white background, you know, like the potato filter, you know, like all, you know, and then like
no gimmicks.
Yeah, and that was like the ongoing trope. So there's always been that. But Shane Dawson is somebody who, I mean, for the most part, he canceled himself. He kind of disappeared. I would argue though that he's still making money off his content to some degree. So I don't know. Is there justice?
A lot of these guys are still making money off of their content. Their content didn't get demonetized; they just bounced. And so, if I don't know where their view level is, but I mean, they could still be monetized, making money. I know Sniper Wolf is still monetized on YouTube. She's just not making as much content as she once did. So there's still money coming in, and that's a whole principle in itself that, like, you know, we don't have to really get in too deep about. But like, when you think about these people, there's only one word to describe them: douchebags.
Influencers, douchebags. Next on your product placement.
Well, you know, let me say this one. I wanted to say it earlier, but you guys were kind of on the length of it. You asked a great question quickly. You did what's the value in influencers, and really the value is that on a small scale, it's just a way of reaching out to people. Period. And unfortunately, the larger you get, and when you throw money in, it becomes toxic, and then you intermingle people of different ages, and you have the potential for toxicity and bad behavior. But on a small scale, yeah. But on a small scale, there is a social aspect that's important, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. I learned a lot today, and I learned nothing at the same time. So
it's because we're old.
The O.U.C.H cast.
We're old. We're aged.
We're aged imperfectly.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting year. Interesting events.
This is how we're ending the year?
This is it.
Can you play something better after this so that we don't have to end the year on this?
Nah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. 1,
so if you guys are hearing this before the new year, which you probably will, December 31st this year is 1, 2, 3.
Tomorrow.
1, 2, 3. And so congratulations. You have made it through Sesame Street, and the count will be 1, 2, 3. So that's all I got.
Well, anything else you want to tell the people before we go?
Don't put so much, don't put so much equity into these people. Like, they're just people at the end of the day. Some of them are flawed. Some of them are decent. If you get influenced to buy, that's fine. That's just, it's part of life. But like, it's okay to like people, but just don't put your whole life into these people, because, they turn out to be flawed and they need forgiveness just like everybody else. But douchebags.
Enrique, anything else?
No, I think I said it already.
Oh, wait, I got one more thing.
What?
Don't be FauciTube and go to our www.O.U.C.H.cast.com.
Hold on, what is www?
And go to our Discord.
The what?
Go to our Discord so we can be douchebags.
You're a Discord influencer.
I want to be a Discord influencer. I want to influence you to go to our Discord. That's what I want to influence you to do.
So this is it. You guys have a good remainder. We'll be back after the holiday break.
Or we won't.
Or we won't. We'll see. Depends. We'll probably have George. More likely we won't.
Send us money.
Yeah, so George can come on my face. So, okay. That's all we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry for feeling a little under the weather and all the coughing and all that. But, COVID sucks. And remember, Happy New Year.